everyone knows who you are. And I'm so glad that you're here once again. You've been a great supporter of EFL Talks and me. And I appreciate it. You're a very dear friend. So, with that, thank you for being here. And I will cut you off, friend or not. 10 minutes. Take it away.
No problem. We've got dinner in the oven as well. Okay, so I cheated here. I used my cover slide and put my email on it so that I got one extra slide out of this. And what I would say, I just gave a talk for TESOL, my first ever, and talked about goals and realized that most of us in this field do not have a linear career. And I have to say mine has been a long and winding road. It has just taken me all over the place. So, yes. So the big move came in 1981. I was living in New York City, not actually in the financial district, but I did work there for a while. And I was running a small opera company called the Opera Camerata, which I learned a lot about scheduling and dealing with all kinds of people. And I hoped to become a professional opera singer. I took lessons. I sang roles in various operas that we mounted, and have to say this was an incredible learning experience. But I needed a day job, and even in New York, I worked in an advertising agency, so I had some business experience. I came to Graz on a program for singers, and if you have a look at this picture, you can get an idea of why I fell in love with the city, and it still looks just like that. So I started teaching. I was auditioning for opera houses, taking lessons, but again, the day job had to be there. And I was lucky to start working at the Chamber of Commerce with adults. And I had my first class. I was able to choose my book, went in and realized this is so much fun. They are a captive audience. They laugh at my jokes. They enjoy what we're doing. I can be as creative as I want. I had no one telling me what to do, and I really liked it. And in addition to that, to help pay the bills, I tutored school children. And in doing this, I began to learn German. And they gave me this wonderful book. I think it was called Better English. And I learned how to explain the English grammar through that school book because it was for children. Plus, I learned all of the German words that describe the English grammar, which turned out to be one of the most valuable things I learned. And then at the Chamber of Commerce, I got to do a diploma in adult ed. So the next decade or so, took part in loads of training courses. We're lucky here that the university was very open in inviting all of us to training programs. We had people very often from Pilgrims. I worked with Jim Wingate, Simon Greenall. I can't even remember all the people, Sheila Deller, all the people who came, wonderful groups. I jumped on every possibility and took every single course. And then I discovered NLP and did the practitioner and the master practitioner and then eventually trainer. And in this time, I started holding teacher training courses on a variety of topics. And then I took a huge chance and held my first conference presentation in Innsbruck. And I still remember I had this interactive presentation, my stuffed animal that I threw around, and it was one of those lecture halls where the seats were staggered. But it worked. I had just decided I was going to do it. And I have to say the training for the stage was probably one of the most valuable things that I had because none of this fazed me. Then in 1995, ITEFL BSIC held their conference in Graz, and I joined. Soon after, I was hired at the Styrian Teacher Training Academy. I still remember speaking to Herbert Puchter at some event, and he said, give me a call. And I didn't realize none of them have phones, but I got in, and I really enjoyed working with the students. And that's when I started writing articles for publication. And early on, I published Communicative Business Activities. A colleague at the Chamber of Commerce had seen some of my activities. And she told her dad, who was in publishing, who contacted a friend, because everyone else I sent it off to just sent me back the manuscript unopened. But having an in was enormously helpful. And soon after that, I was asked if I would work on the book Friends, and I was then a member of the authoring team. And it was an amazing experience doing that. I had never done anything like that. We varied groups of 3 to 5 and putting together interactive and exciting and engaging materials based on set curriculum. And I got published for the first time in English Teaching Professional. That was a real thrill. Moving on from there, I was asked if I was interested in becoming a Cambridge examiner. Now, I was already well into my career, and I was there with a colleague. We were more or less the same age, not the youngest. And there was a very young teacher who said, "What are you two learning this for? You're both so old." And then we had the training, and then they watched us, and we both got accepted, and she didn't, because she hadn't listened to what they told her. It was really interesting. And I don't think age has anything to do with what we can learn. As Catherine has said, we just keep on doing these things. I worked on textbooks for the Austrian high schools. One was even a technical book. And those who know me, I'm not the most technical person, but I learned a lot. And then I got a job at the University of Graz, which had long been a dream. Got to do a research project on learning styles, and then CUP asked if I would write a business English book. I did a few for them, and I kept working as an oral examiner, and then even wrote material for CD-ROMs and got to publish on learning styles, my passion, and then was asked by Pearson to work on Business Partner. So one of the most important things that went through this entire time period was all the volunteer work. Started in 2003 as chair of T, our local association, which unfortunately no longer exists, and then went on to be the coordinator of IATEFL BSIC, and then I joined the membership committee of IATEFL, and one of my most exciting things there was to have the chance to start the webinar series, of which I'm sure you all know. And then from 2015 to 18, I served as VP and president of IATEFL, which was an experience that is indescribable, from the amount of things that you learn doing it and the feeling of giving back to the community. So what went on in this time? Well, this was a major period for me, because any ideas? Anyone want to put it in the chat? I'm afraid if I go to chat, I'll lose this, but Rob can tell me. Any idea what might have changed here? Okay, well, I got a smartphone. So it made it easy to start tweeting. That's when I discovered what a PLN was. So started writing for PEO. This was Professional English Online. I joined ELT Chat and ELT Pics, which I loved. I still remember standing on the beach in Greece and uploading pictures for the ELT Pics. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I can upload that. I was asked to teach on the EVO course, the Electronic Village Online, me, the non-technical person who said, no, I can never do that. Well, surprise, it is possible. I started blogging, gave my first talk for the EFL Talks, 2016. Here we are 4 years later. And in 2020, my students contacted me and said, we miss you, and we can't have classes face-to-face I only teach at one company, but what can we do? So we decided to hold the courses online, and it was fine. And since March 2020, I have presented in a number of online conferences and have been giving online workshops. I'm trying to watch the time here. So what's happening now? Still holding plenaries and other talks in countries, now online. Working on my first online course, it's almost done. Continuing with my corporate clients and deciding what I want to do in the future. Still open. So this is what I think will happen. Continuing with the PLN, I hope I can travel again, getting new ideas for plenary talks, learning from my wonderful colleagues, continuing with my corporate clients, working on a new course book. I can't say what it is yet, but hopefully soon, and an idea for a book on NLP, which is in the background. So hopefully things will look very different in 2021. Thanks, everyone.